Hello and welcome to Open 2022, everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host, Y Café con Leche, for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BxRx TV and like us on Facebook at Open BxRx Television. And of course, while you're there, follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So happy New Year and welcome to the first Open of 2022. As we all know, the new year comes with new resolutions. So instead of focusing on resolutions, our first guest is dedicated to supporting people identify value-aligned work that employs and monetizes their talents. And through her online course titled Mastering the Art of Work, participants gain access to videos and a printed workbook addressing how you can engage on our three most precious assets, and that is time, money, and people. And she also co-owns a Sugar Hill Creamery, an ice cream shop in Harlem that sells handmade small batch ice cream and non-dairy frozen desserts. And joining us to discuss how to create a value-based life for the new year, please welcome career and mindset coach and owner of Sugar Hill Creamery, Petrushka Bazin Larsen. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Rhina. I'm happy to be here. And as COVID should have it, my children are home. So if you hear a couple of sounds, I got children, which is actually perfectly in alignment with what we'll talk about today, and how I made a career shift because, I'm a mom and I needed to be present for them as well as myself and, my community. So.
Yeah, the COVID language though, because we've got our own verbiage now. It's actually called coworkers. Let's be politically correct.
That's right. I'm so sorry. My coworkers are home. My coworkers are working from home with me. Okay. We're not social distancing either, so that's great.
Thanks for the warning. We got it. It's all been noted, right? So,
Thanks.
But we're gonna try and get in as much as we possibly can before you get interrupted.
Thank you. Okay.
So, but you're like you said, it's perfectly aligned with where we are, and the fact that we've now entered an entirely new year, and we're still in this pandemic, in a different variation. But the reality is that we're still dealing with this enemy that just doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. And so there's an acclamation that we're all kind of like struggling with because nobody really wants to accept this as being our new norm.
Right. And it's here. It's here. It's here. So we can either focus on how things were, or we can just be in the present, because the present is what's dictating our future, not the past. And a lot of times our ideas about everything are rooted in the past. I did this in the past, so therefore I don't think I can do this in the future, or I can be this person right now. This happened to me in the past, so I don't think I'm prepared to do these things right now or in the future. But this is something that I talk about in my course and with my one-on-one clients, and how I live my life. Like, things that happened in the past are in the past. There's nothing I can do about them. They're all done. And the only thing that I can do now is be present to acknowledge the past. It happened, but it cannot hold me. It does not anchor how I will move forward, right? I have to honor the things that have happened, and then I have to be present in my now so that I can impact the future and have the results in the future that I would like to have. Our present dictates our future, not our past.
Right. And I got that. I got it all. And I hope you guys are getting it. And that also kind of invites the question of opening up an ice cream shop in the middle of a pandemic, and the fact that you've been thriving in despite. And so you've got an online course, obviously, that's the norm that we're dealing in, right? Where we're all communicating as such. But then you have an actual in-person shop, a brick and mortar. So let's talk about why an ice cream shop.
So we actually opened our first location in 2017 when my husband lost his job very serendipitously. He worked in hospitality, and they closed the restaurant without much notice, right? And so what does everybody do? They have to go find a new job. But it was an invitation for us to think about what we wanted from our life and what we wanted together as a family. And when, I was working in museums and nonprofit spaces during, regular business hours, and he's working at night in restaurants. And we, at the time, only had one child, but it was kind of like, well, our second child was on the way. We're like, do we want to be living on the, two ends of the day, or do we want to like do life together, right? So we sat on the idea for a little bit, but it basically, it came to us when we were out of town having ice cream with some friends after a lovely lunch. And we realized that we couldn't actually do that in Harlem, where we lived for 16 years now, right? We were like, you can only go to Baskin Robbins, you can get a Coco Helado, from the cart, you can get ice cream truck, but you can't like go sit down. Like nobody's sitting in Baskin Robbins to like have a moment. There's not even that many tables. Okay. So we're like, we should do this. Like we should open an ice cream shop. Like we should be in business for ourselves. I was going to still work full time outside of our business. And he was going to focus most of the time, or all of his time on the business. And I would just support. And then it came to me after we were pregnant with our third child, and I was working in another position, that position was not right for me. There were a couple of things that were impacting my quality of life that I was like, I'm not willing to sacrifice my well-being, like my mental well-being, my emotional well-being, to do this job that's paying me a generous amount of money and does have wonderful impact in our community. I'm actually not willing to do that. Like, it's not worth it, because I am my best asset. And as a mother, like, I have to be able to show up mentally for my children and be a good partner to my spouse, right? So
that's an important topic right there before you keep going, because and I just want to pause for 1 second and back it up, because a lot of people define success through their occupation or through their title or through the amount of money that they're earning. And you just made a very, very profound statement with regards to, like, you know what? I was making good money. It was serving my community. However, my mental health was at stake.
Correct. Like, I think it has been most, the message of like, do what you are supposed to be doing on this earth has been loudest as a mother. Like, I've always done work that I'm passionate about. I've always done work that is interesting to me, right? But if I am unable to come home and be present to the people that that didn't ask to be here, but that I made, or, posted in my body,
I'm a mother, so I understand.
You understand. It's like, what is the point? Because they learn by example. So if they're seeing me model unhealthy work practices, they're seeing me do things that are negatively impacting me just for the check, that's not the message I want to give them, right? Do the value aligned work, be compensated for it so that you can have the lifestyle that you desire. But like, the first and foremost priority has to be your mental health, and your emotional health.
No, I don't want to run out of time without you defining what value aligned it means in your course, because we're going to be running out of time, and I knew this was going to happen between us, but I want to make sure, that our guests understand where wealth really comes from, right? And it's really in your wellness.
Absolutely. So I define it as, okay, in the course, we talk about what is your purpose, right? And for some people, their purpose in the first, a given time, like this next 10 years, might be different than their purpose in 20 years, but they do have a purpose, right? And that purpose, we have to identify what that is. And then we set our goals based on that. How do you want to be showing up in the world in the next 3 years? How do you want to be showing up in the world in the next 10 years, right? And thinking about what your interests are, what your God-given abilities are, and really putting that in a pot, and seeing what comes out of that, and then what you can make as a result, right? What you can make and bring to market, I should say, for people to enjoy, right? And so a lot of the people that have taken the course and the people that I work with one-on-one often are career shifters. They are sometimes in a career that they're not really sure if they're ready to shift, but they're like, this ain't it, and I need time to think about what my next step is. Or there are people that have just started businesses. Maybe it's their primary focus, or it's like a side hustle, right? But they're like, this is my interest, and this is where I want to be, and this is how I want to spend my time, and I want this to replace my current employment, right?
Yeah.
So those are generally the people that are in the class, and then they take the class and they're like, whoa, my mind was blown. Like I got so much value because now I feel so much more sure about what it is that I want to do. And so that in the course, we talk about what your purpose is and how we have to set goals in alignment with that. If you don't understand what your purpose is, and it's really hard, and this goes for New Year's resolutions and intentions, like if you don't understand like how you want to be showing up and why, the why is really important, then it's going to be hard for you to even keep the goal. Like what, if you don't know why, then why,
Right.
What is the purpose?
Right.
So if somebody says, I want to really like work out this year and like really dedicate, why?
Oh my gosh. You see, look, she already gave us a taste of the course. And I wish we had more time, but we are out of time, Petrushka.
Okay.
And I know. And I knew that was going to happen, but I do want to say everything that you're saying it's so important for you guys to really get it, right? Because the why really is about understanding that there's a deeper meaning behind your actions. And when you recognize what that deeper meaning is, it allows you to keep moving forward as opposed to quitting. And so, and that was just me summarizing it. But however, right, if you're interested in obtaining more and learning more and or participating in her Mastering the Art of Work, you can visit AskPetrushka.com. And of course, if you're interested in some creamery, some ice cream, you can visit Sugar Hill Creamery.com. She's got various locations, but check her out on the website. All right, we do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll speak to the multi-platinum producer Amadeus about his new autobiography, and the beat goes on. Stay tuned.